Whoever this is for, you're needing to like go on a balcony or go on a higher elevation to gain a better perspective on your environment or in your situations, or just have more of a hawk eye view, and either like climb a mountain to get that perspective, or climb a balcony, or go on top of a building, because I feel like right now you're in that fog and you really need to lift yourself up. I mean, figuratively, like actually lift up your mood, or literally, physically, like literally go walk a fucking mountain, go on a balcony, go outside where you're in a higher elevation and you're able to go above the fog that you're immersed in, so you're able to actually see what's going on and where the fog is and where your perspective is. If you're in that fog, you're not able to really have a objective perspective of like what's going on. But if you go in a higher perspective above the fog, you're able to have a clarity on where you are foggy, on where your life might be just like you're in depth, or there's like this coarseness, or you're not able to see fully of what's going on. And sometimes we need to climb a mountain, and mountains are often associated with like challenges. Just getting a higher perspective. The goat is often connected with the mountain because they are able to traverse complicated just mountaineers that a lot of us are not able to do because we don't have the tools. But the goat symbolizes like have all the tools to climb any elevation. It's just being very strategic. If that aligns with you, like you're going through challenges right now, and it might be a challenge to actually have a higher perspective, because when we're in the fog, we're not able to see clearly, and then we get frustrated and we can make decisions that are not for our better future because we're not able to see forward, and we only make short-term goals based on what we see in front of us. So we might make decisions that are like 2 feet ahead. Maybe that's what you need. You just need to make steps or make goals for yourself that are 2 feet ahead, because even 2 feet ahead of you is progress forward, getting through that fogginess. So you might be dealing with fogginess in your life. You don't know where you are in your life, or there's this frustration where there's no clarity. Once you get that perspective, climb a mountain or climb a balcony or climb the city walls or something, you're able to look over that fogginess to understand that it's purpose. Listening to songs. This can also deal with like maybe there's certain songs, but this can also be certain songs that are coming up right now, or you turn on the radio and the same songs keep turning on, or you're listening to the same song. And so it's like really listen to the songs that come up in the radio. Like when you go into your car, when you turn on your music, like is there a song that keeps playing that you keep listening to, and it's not just like, oh, this just like, maybe there's some lyrics, or maybe I'm also getting like being in tune. So like maybe you need to tune yourself into a certain melody, into a higher frequency, higher elevation. And I was mentioning a hawk. Hawks are connected to having that higher perspective, having an objective perspective where they soar over the sky, or eagles or whatever, birds essentially. We see a birds here, so like being higher in tune, really tuning yourself into a higher kind of elevation, and like a higher tune, higher music, higher sounds, pay attention to music, or something having to do with like being being in tune with a higher elevation. Dream time. And the back of the deck we have the water, so this could be connected, and again we see a bird, so again like that being more objective with what you're experiencing right now. The waters is connected to our emotions, so you might be going through submerse yourself in your emotions, submerse yourself in your feelings, and really feel those feelings, and let your feelings, and being in your feelings doesn't mean you have to process the feelings, but just like let be in your feelings in order to heal your feelings. You don't have to process your feelings. Air signs, but like in the emotions, it's like water signs, like their connection or their superpower, the water signs, is the ability to be submersed in the water in their emotions and to really alchemize their emotions into a superpower. Meantime, this can be in regards to your subconscious, paying attention to your dreams. I'm seeing a lantern which is connected to also geometry. If you're into that, the spiral, there's a lot of geometry art out in the real world if you want to look into that and how that can actually be a way to alchemize in regards to spirituality and art, and incorporating math and art into each other to kind of, that is a way to, if you're like more of a sciencey person, that is a way to get into spirituality. But I'm seeing a lantern, so I feel like path is being paved, and I think it's interesting because while this person is on a higher perspective, there's this fogginess. This person is actually going through that fog, and the fog is in the forest, so it's like this person is going through that fog. So it could be, so I'm seeing a correlation, I'm seeing a pattern. And music could be a way that you get that higher elevation in order to tune into your higher frequency. So it could be actually being in a higher frequency in order to elevate yourself, and then you don't actually physically have to like climb a mountain or a balcony. But paying attention to your dream time, and the lantern is often associated in tarot in regards to the hermit. So this could be like walking through the fog. Like I said before, because your goal doesn't have to be like future orientated in regards to like a 5-year plan. It could be just like make a goal for what you see ahead of you. You're still making the steps forward towards your dream life, even if you only see 2 steps ahead of you. The hermit is about isolation. It's about finding your own lantern, lighting your own way, lighting your own path. So maybe walking your own path, making your own path, not following other people's paths, but definitely paying attention to your dreams, and maybe you maybe quantum leaping through your dreams somehow. But dream time, dreams do have to do with our subconscious, and in our dreams is how we process our subconscious to our conscious. Dreams is how we can reprogram ourselves. Dreams can be a really good way to, like, maybe you turn on music, get in tune, activation through music in your dreams. We have the King of Wands, and we have the Four of Pentacles. Ooh, in the moon. I'm going to put this down too. The moon, I really want to put this down because, well, we see lots of depictions of the moon, and the full moon in Gemini is coming up on Sunday. But the moon is often about illumination through dreams, so that's why I want to bring it out. But the moon is often associated, it can be associated with illusions. Things don't appear how they are, and that can be of the fog, like what you see in front of you have its illusions, because once you stare into the fog, your mind tries to see through the fog, and it might create images that are not clear. And I'm also getting the message that sacred geometry, or is actually geometry as an art form, is actually the true form of us being in tune spiritually, in bodily form. That's how we can physically convey a physical high vibration of a physical form. And also, if you look into sacred geometry and Jung, he is the psychologist, or basically the artist. I would recommend looking into his sacred geometry creations, and he actually uses dreams and creates geometry formations that are inspired from his dreams. That could be something to look into. But the moon is literally illumination of the darkness, and us processing what we go through day to day in the subconscious, and it can be a great way to reprogram yourself, and that can be done through music, like I said. King of Wands is an individual who's very fiery, who's very passionate, very action orientated. He knows what he wants. He is very stern, because every King of Wands is always has his fist. And so he has this, like, I see him as a very passionate and creative leader who has a big heart, because he is associated with Leo, the lion. But there's this passion, and there could be this rebirth, because the salamander is actually, or gecko, or whatever you want to call it, it's actually connected with recreation or rebirth, because they're able to grow back their tails. So there is the semblance of the ability to recreate yourself through the art of fire, through the art of passion, through the art of the wands, which is about action. And so this might be you, or this might be someone coming towards you, because the King of Wands came with the Four of Pentacles. Four of Pentacles is about confinement. It can be about greed. It can also be about saving. So like saving your finances. This tells me this fiery person might be constraining themselves. They're constraining their finances, constraining their wealth, constraining their physical body. They have all this passion, but they're holding themselves in. They're not yet putting themselves out there. Or it could just literally be they're literally constraining themselves. They're not taking action on their physical wealth. They have the physical wealth, but they're keeping it to themselves. Or it could be like they have this passion, excitement, and this passion for taking action on something, but they're confining themselves. So this could be you, where if you feel like you have an idea, or you have an inspiration to take action on a project, but you're either still saving up for something, or you're just like confining your energy, or not giving out your energy to this project yet, or you could be saving up. Pentacles can be about saving up money. It doesn't just have to do with like being greedy and keeping money to yourself. You have this passion, you have this inspiration, but you're confining it, you're controlling it. Three of Wands is literally about you've already made the manifestation, and you're just waiting for the boats to come in. You're waiting for the transportation to come in. You've made your intention of this is what I want, because Two of Wands is you're like, you're making a choice. Twos are about choices. And Three of Wands, you've already made the choice, and now you've already made the intention, and now you're waiting it out. And so this could be why you might be confining, because you made the intention, you're assertive, maybe you're in a leader position, and now you're looking to widen your land, you're looking to widen your leadership, you're looking at other places that you can dominate in your leadership, in your power or control maybe, and you're looking to, because the Two of Wands actually is holding, I think maybe the Three of Wands is holding the world. Or no, it was the Two of Wands. But in any case, it's like essentially you have the world in your hand, and it's like the imagery with the Two of Wands to the Three of Wands, it tells me like spin the world and touch your finger on wherever it lands, and that's your next destination. And so there's this sense of expansion of land, of exploration, of maybe another otherworldly, or you're looking at ways to expand yourself in another world, which could be in regards to like mysticism, Pisces energies, the fish. Doesn't have to be in this world that you expand yourself. It could be in the underworld, or some kind of mysticism in your dream aspects, that you're actually expanding yourself, expanding your passion. The Sun, I mean, this is good news, because the Sun is about happiness. It's literally about like following what brings you happiness. It's about following what makes you vulnerable. I mean, the woman here is naked, so it's just being vulnerable, but in the original tarot, the Sun is literally with a child on a white horse, which is having pure intentions for your joy, for your excitement. And the King of Wands is all about that joy and excitement, and very Leo energy, because the Sun is actually associated with Leo. And the fact that the Leo, or the lions, are associated with the King and Queen of Wands tells me that this is about following your passions, your excitements, made the intentions, and you're following what gives you joy. But what is this moon? I don't know what this moon is, because everything, obviously you're like you're confining your resources because you made the intention for a new project, and you're looking to expand your leadership. The King of Wands, this is a very leader. You're in a leader. You're individual that you might associate yours with fire. You like to take action. You might be someone that Wands energy is very often more about actions rather than thinking. But even then, the King of Wands still, it has that restriction, control, being able to control your fire, and maybe sometimes confining it, building it up. Maybe confining it is actually building it up. Even then, I feel like you're expanding your leadership. You're expanding. I mean, if you're someone that you're an entrepreneur, you might be expanding your business to other sections of the world and looking at ways in which you can bring more money into your business, into yourself too. You're still like following your joy and excitement, but I'm curious what this moon energy is, please. The Chariot is clarifying the moon, and this tells me about there's two sides, but it's also about balance. It's like, in order to create movement forward in your life, you need to create balance of your shadow and light. And so that might be what's coming up in your making sure the intentions of your shadow self and your light self, or your conscious self and your subconscious self, are in the same direction, and they're moving in the same direction. They have the same ideology, or they have the same intention in order to move forward. Because if in your dreams, might happen, as an example, is like, if you're in your conscious, you're trying to like manifest being a business person, having your own business, but in your subconscious you're more into like being an artist and kind of being in the background. Or you could be like, oh, I want to be in the foreground, I want to be at the attention, but your subconscious is like, you haven't either processed your subconscious, and so there's this sense of like two horses are going opposite ways. You don't have that clarity, that fogginess that we see here, and so it's having a higher perspective, and that higher perspective comes from connecting to your higher consciousness, which comes from your dreams. The moon connecting to part of yourself that sleeps, that awakens at night when you're sleeping. Your conscious. Actually, that's interesting because we have the sun, the light, and we have the moon, the dark, in regards to the Chariot. So I'm seeing, when the sun is out, that's your conscious. When the sun comes down, that is your dark side that comes out. And if those two sides, both your light and dark, needs to have the same intention in order for the intention to actually be manifested, the Three of Wands, in order to actually see the boat, in regards to the King of Wands and leadership, and making that move forward. But so we got Ten of Swords. So there might be something that you're conflicting with right now, that you're a failure of some kind, which is interesting. But first and foremost, I'm seeing that there needs to be a balance, but I think I've already made that clear. But also, you're having, from the moon, you're having the Ten of Swords, which tells me there's, in your shadow, there's a sense of like giving up, or there's an ending that has to happen, or you feel at your most dentermost. But what's interesting is that even when he's like so close to the water, he's almost there, but then he's just like, when you're almost there to your goal, but then you give up too soon. And that might be what's about all that fogginess, and why it's important to have that intention. And even if you can't see forward, that intention, that clarity comes from inside of your light and your shadow, the sun and the moon. What is this kind of, okay, Two of Pentacles. So you can't decide on which pentacle to choose, or you feel like you have to multitask in order to keep your emotions at bay. So you could feel like, or materialism is actually connected to having a balanced emotions, or like if you have negative $0 and it's like your emotions are at high, but it's like if you have money in your account, or when you get paid, you're feeling happy and abundant. So the Ten of Swords energy in regards to Two of Pentacles could be that you have too many projects at hand. You're not able to maintain your emotions because you're too focused on maintaining projects or maintaining your materialism. You're more attentive to like setting boundaries and trying to push people back. You could be defeated by other people because other people, the King of Wands, like other people are trying to give you their wands or trying to give you, they're turned on by your passion, and you feel like as the King of Wands you have to constantly be like setting boundaries because you know what you want, and so you have to constantly be like pushing people back. Three of Pentacles. People want to work with you. Three of Pentacles. You're creating a foundation with other people, but you're like, even when you're creating a foundation with other people, you feel like you constantly, so the Ten of Swords energy could be like you're exhausted by having to constantly be setting boundaries with other people of like what that you need your foundation to be built a certain way, and it's really tiring and exhausting. But you have to look through the fog like, oh, is all of this going to be worth it? It's like you're going through, or it's like even when we're in the desert and we're see all the moon, see the moon in regards to like when we're completely deprived, starving, or thirsty, and the moon comes out in regards to like we're so deprived, we're like we're at a pinpoint of like, oh, I should just give up or should I keep going? I don't see ahead because I can't see ahead, and your mind starts playing tricks on you where it creates this like illusions or these images. One's in some sense like kind of schizophrenic, but in some, or not schizophrenic, but schizophrenic in the sense of like you start seeing things, you start talking to things that aren't there, and so there is that dark element where if you don't have if you don't balance your light and your shadow, your darkness can overpower your light, can overpower your darkness, and in both aspects these both need to be healed in order to create movement in your life. The fogginess, we're not able to see ahead of us. We might give up before we're actually able to nourish ourselves. But also the Ten of Swords talks about an ending, and that while he is deprived and he's dead, there's actually nourishment all around him. There's actually ways to nourish him, water, emotions. So I feel like there's something in regards that's going to be revealed to you, which will kind of put you in a position where you're in your head too much, where you're like, oh, this is all ending and my life is ending. But you have to remember the ending is actually making the intention for birth, and then in order to move forward, some things have to die. Understanding that some things that need to die are actually there to nurture us in regards to water around him. And so this can be a balance, like something that needs to die in your life is actually balancing your life, hitting those boundaries of your intention, your passion, of what you're interested in, the sun, following your own guidance, not letting other people's passions orientate your path for you, and then creating a foundation with others where you are firm on what you want, but there's still that balancing, multitasking your emotions to be able to create multi-income. Maybe that we see the two of Pentacles turns into the Three of Pentacles, and the Seven of Wands between them. How you get from Two of Pentacles to Three of Pentacles is that you set boundaries, and maybe in the negative you are defensive, or so it's definitely like hearing other people's decisions out. It's still like following your own passions and understanding like where this will lead, and following like, no, this is my project, this is my wand, this is where I wanted to go, and following the blueprint of your passion in order to create a foundation of some kind.